Welcome to Easy Vegetarian. I'm Autumn Conley.
And I'm Judson Bisher.
And today on our segment, we're going to discuss organic foods. And we're going to just kind of inform you guys a little bit more about, what is organic food, the pricing, because a lot of people always worry about pricing when they think of organic food in general, and some pros and cons. So let's jump right in. So what does organic really mean? The term organic refers to the way agricultural products are grown and processed. Specific requirements must be met and maintained in order for products to be labeled as organic products.
And some of these requirements are that crops are generally grown without synthetic pesticides, artificial fertilizers, irradiation, which is just a form of radiation that farmers use to kill bacteria, also biotechnology, so no altering genes of the crops. And then animals are considered organic if they eat organically grown feed and are not confined 100% of the time, as they sometimes are in conventional farms, so they have to be free range. And as long as they are raised without antibiotics or with synthetic growth hormones. And then also it is good for the environment. It's good for your health. And there are several ways that it's good for your health, but the most common and most talked about way is that because they don't have pesticides, they boost their production of phytochemicals, which are vitamins and antioxidants, to strengthen their resistance to bugs and weeds. Some studies have linked the pesticides in our food to everything from headaches and to cancer to birth defects. But many experts maintain that the levels in conventional food are safe for most healthy adults. Even low-level pesticide exposure, however, can be significantly more toxic for fetuses and children and pregnant women, as Autumn will explain.
And going on to that, what do pesticides really do to the different levels of human beings? Of course, children, they're younger, their immune systems are a little different. So children are actually most vulnerable to pesticide exposure. They're most vulnerable due to their less developed immune systems and because their bodies and brains are still developing. They're in that developmental stage until they get older, of course. Exposure at an early age can cause developmental delays, behavior disorders, and even some motor dysfunctions. Pregnant women are also very vulnerable due to added stress pesticides that they put already on their taxed organs. Plus, pesticides can be passed from mother to child while in the womb, so as well as through breast milk after the child is born.
Also, that was the crop side of healthy organic foods. But on the meat side, pesticide contamination isn't much of a concern. However, many scientists are concerned about the antibiotics given to most farm animals. Many are the same antibiotics that we as humans use. And so doctors such as Chuck Penbrook, the chief scientist at the Organic Center, have found that the overuse of these drugs in animals and then when consumed by humans can actually lead to bacteria building resistances against the antibiotics. So then if you ever become susceptible to a disease in which that antibiotic must be used, the disease would be able to fight against it. As well, there are a lot of environmental benefits. Because farmers aren't using pollutants, organic farming are reducing them in groundwater, which creates richer soil, which in turn aids plant growth while reducing soil erosion. It also decreases pesticides that can end up in your drinking glass. In some cities, pesticides in tap water have been measured at unsafe levels for weeks at a time. And this was according to an analysis performed by the Environmental Working Group. Plus, organic farming uses 50% less energy than conventional farming methods in a 15-year study. So clearly, organic farming is much better for the environment.
Moving on, we're going to talk a little bit about why and how buying fresh organic food within your local economy benefits your local community. Locally grown fruits and vegetables are available in any community. You just have to know where to go, when to look, and how to find all of these products farmers markets is the best example in any community you can find them. So some financial benefits is that, of course, the money stays within your community and ultimately will strengthen your local economy. More money will go directly to that farmer versus the money going to marketing and distribution like we would see if we buy fruits and vegetables from local grocery stores. There's some transportation issues that it was mentioned in the last part that could financially benefit your local economy, as well as your produce is going to be fresher. Local food is the freshest food that you could purchase. Fruits and vegetables are harvested when they're ripe. They're full of flavor. They don't have any pesticides sprayed on them to keep them to last longer. They don't have steroids for the meat side, that is, because you can buy meat at these farmers markets as well. For all you non-vegetarians listening. But also your meat is better for you because it is not filled with steroids to make the animals larger and grow faster, excuse me.
There's a couple things that you guys should understand when you're purchasing organic. There are several different labels. You'll see things saying natural or all natural, made with organic ingredients, contains organic ingredients, 100% organic. So it's important to know what all these different labels mean because some of them might be falsely leading you in the wrong direction. So the first and most important thing to remember is that natural does not equal organic. Natural is an unregulated term that can be applied by anyone, whereas organic certification means that set production standards have been met. So when the word natural is used, that doesn't necessarily mean that the USDA has approved it as natural. However, if something says organic, that means that the USDA has had to approve something as organic. And just to see what the USDA considers as non-organic, we've talked about it a little before, but the full list of things, if any of these are found in meat or in crops, they cannot consider it as organic. So the lists are antibiotics, pig and chicken byproducts, hormones for growth, pesticides, sewage sludge, arsenic-based drugs, and those are the main ones that we see. So if any of those are contained in crops or in meat, then the USDA cannot label it as organic. And now there's all the different types that the term organic can be used to describe food. So there's 100% organic, which means that foods are completely organic or made with 100% organic ingredients. Organic, which means that foods contain at least 95% organic ingredients. Made with organic ingredients means that foods contain at least 70% organic ingredients. And contains organic ingredients means that foods contain less than 70% organic ingredients. So it's a list that tells you what percentage of the ingredients in the food are made organically. As well, there are a couple others terms that you should know. Grass-fed means that the animals are fed solely on a diet of grass or hay. These animals also have access to outdoors. Cattle are naturally the ones that eat grass, so they tend to be healthier and leaner when fed this way. In addition, grass-fed beef is shown to have more of the healthy omega-3 fatty acids. Free range means slightly different things in different parts of the world, but broadly it means that the animals weren't confined to a cage and had access to the outdoors. Unfortunately, in the United States, the animal density can still be very high, and the animals may only have short periods outside in an area that's quite small. So it's important that if you see the term free range to actually maybe do some research behind the company to see how free range their animals actually are. And finally, the no hormones added. In the United States and in some other countries where the use of growth hormones is permitted, this term indicates that animals are raised without the use of any added growth hormones. For beef and dairy products, it can be helpful, but by law, poultry and pigs cannot be given hormones. So don't pay extra for chicken or pork products that uses this label because they already are not allowed to have hormones added to them.
And then to wrap things up today, we're just going to give you a few tips on how to make sure you keep that cost for organic food within your budget. That is probably one of the largest problems that people think they have with buying locally grown foods or organic foods in general, is because they can tend to be overpriced, but they're better for you and you can find a way to budget them. So the first tip, of course, is what we already mentioned. Go to your farmer's market. most cities and even small towns, Hastings is a pretty small town, we all have farmers markets. So go there, check it out. Be open-minded to what you're going to see if you've never been to one. And if you've been to one, then you have that experience to make sure you shop around. Join a food co-op. Find out whether there is a natural food co-op, or it could also be called a cooperative grocery store that is in your area. And co-ops typically offer lower prices to members. So if you become a member, that's a way to help your budget out a little bit. You'll pay an annual fee to belong, but however, you do not need to be a member to shop at the co-op in general.
And these annual fees aren't usually that expensive. I know for the Nebraska co-op to be a member, it's around $40 a year, so that's not expensive at all. There's also community-supported agriculture, or a CSA farm, in which individuals and families join up to purchase shares or produce in bulk directly from a local farm. There's one of these in Hastings called 26th Street Farm, or you could visit their website to learn more about them on 26thstreetfarm.com. But basically what they do is they have shares that you buy into, and I'm not sure of the exact price, but I think it's around $400 for half a share. And they will give you a box of vegetables every week or so, every week or every 2 weeks. And that's for the growing period, which is like May to October, I believe. And so those are starting to become way more common. They're very inexpensive, besides the starting price of I think it's $400 for half a share. But you get a lot of vegetables for it. But also keep in mind that when you purchase a CSA, that you're buying a share and that there's some risk involved. So, for example, they might have a bad season, so you won't get as many vegetables as average. Or perhaps if you have had it for a couple years, maybe 1 year, you barely get any vegetables, but that's because it's a farm and that there's risk involved. So you have to understand that side of it too.
And then our final organic food buying tips are, of course, buy-in season. It's going to be fresher. Shop around. We already mentioned that earlier. And remember that organic food doesn't always equal eating healthy. You have to always keep in mind a balanced diet, especially if you're vegan, vegetarian, any form of vegetarian. You need to have a balanced diet in order to be eating healthy truthfully. So, Judson, is there anything you would like to add to the segment?
I guess one thing we didn't mention are the grocery stores that exist, like Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, Giant. There's a lot of stores like that. I mean, just a shout out to Trader Joe's, because I was at first really skeptical. I was like, these stores are going to be so expensive, but I walked in there and got a pineapple, whole fresh pineapple for like $1. Like, it's just a random side note, but they're actually very, very inexpensive. I was surprised that I think Trader Joe's everything is 100% organic, and they even make their own wines. But I was surprised that I could get a cart of groceries there for the same price or less than at Walmart or Hy-Vee or whatever grocery store you normally go to.
I think that's all we have for you today, but I'd like to make sure that I give credit where credit is due to helpguide.org is where we got most of our information for today's talk segment, as well as, Judson, can you read the other source over there?
Red Book Magazine.
Red Book Magazine. So those are two of the big sources we use today. We have to give credit when credit is due. Make sure you tune in for next week's segment. We're going to actually ask Jen Gold to come in and talk with myself and Judson about her transition period of becoming a vegan recently. So that'll be a nice, new, fresh opinion piece. So make sure you check out next week's segment. Bye.
Bye.